You're watching RadioActive right here on YouTube. My name is Victoria. With me right now, I am with Josh Daly. How are you doing, Josh?
Doing fantastic, Victoria. How's your day been?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to have you on the show today. And I know like a few days ago, we were talking about kind of all the music projects that you're involved with. So I just
Yeah,
want to start off by talking about the one band that you're in, Behind the Days. Can you just kind of tell me a little bit about the band and what you guys are all about?
yeah, for sure. A couple years ago, I met this singer named Zaid, and he got a hold of me, and he's like, "Dude, we should try to work something out." So we put this band together, and we called it Behind the Days, and it's really cool because Zaid's solo project. It's really heavier type of music, and I love the heavy stuff too, but I also like the more melody driven stuff. So for this Behind the Days, it's heavier music, but it's really melody driven. So that's what's been really exciting about it. And that's how it all got started too. And then yeah, we pulled up a couple other players that we've played with before. I got my drummer Andrew, and he's just a monster on the kit. Everyone calls him Neil Peart or whatever, with less of a drum kit or something like that. So he's a monster. We got the amazing frontman, got me on guitar, and got bass player Matthew, who's this fantastic bass player, and then our keyboard player Josh. And we all get along so well. It's not even usually bands. I feel like they're really uh, business orientated kind of stuff. But this group of people, we're like brothers at this point. So even if we disagree on something, we try to find the middle ground to agree on something. You know what I mean? So the writing process is amazing as well too. It's great. So yeah, that's how that started there. I met up with Zaid, and next thing you know, we got this band going, and it's really cool. Both of our songs, like the Zaid solo project and the Behind the Days, the songs mix so well with each other. So whenever we play live, they think it's the same project of songs, but it's two completely different projects. So they go hand in hand so well with each other. So we gotta give it up to the businessman Zaid for putting everything together on that side of things for us with Behind the Days.
hmm And when Zayd played in Saskatoon here, you guys actually backed him as like Behind the Days, all those members. How did that show go and like just being able to
Oh,
back him?
oh man, that show blew me away. You can actually check it out on YouTube, the intro of the show. But we started off with this kind of crazy intro, and the lights went out, and then next thing you know, the lights come on, and we have our intro rolling, and my adrenaline just pumped. And I look over to my right, and I see these guys flying around on the stage, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to see for the rest of my life. But yeah, going back to the backing up Zayd, it was amazing. Like it's both projects are the exact same for the most part, like the same group members. So it was no transition into learning someone else's music or anything like that. Like they feel so hand in hand. So yeah, it was great. It was Zayd featuring Behind the Days. That's kind of how we were going about it. So it was amazing. Such an amazing venue to play at in Saskatoon there, and the production just blew me away. I've never been more impressed in my life. So.
hmm And you also have your own solo project that you're kind of starting up. Can you just tell me a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, yeah. I Behind the Days is a little bit of downtime right now, so I'm thinking, what could I do to keep pushing myself out there? And so I said, screw it, I'm gonna start an instrumental solo project. So I've last couple of years, I've recorded some songs, and I look back at them, I'm like, wow, these are some songs that are really well put together and they got potential. So I got a good team behind me of musicians, and we currently have a show booked here May 1st. So putting everything together. But yeah, the solo project comes from me as a musician wanting to be able to branch out more and express myself more. When you're playing songs that are written around vocals, you have to really play for the song, which is beautiful. I love doing that. But this solo project, it was more for me to be able to branch out as a player and as a musician, and to be able to express myself a bit more while still wanting to write vocal songs as well too. But this is just being able to really push myself as a player, you know what I mean? And the other guys
Mhm.
I'm playing with too, they push me too. So it's all about getting better, and almost like this project, I almost kind of want to be the worst player in it, you know what I mean, so that it will help me push myself, you know what I mean. So Andrew and Rob, they're the two players in my band. They're crazy good, so they really push me. And like I said, it's just more to be able to express myself as a player, you know what I mean. So I feel like there's a lot in me that gets held back, and I don't want that no more. I want to be able to get rid
Right.
of it all, you know what I mean. So yeah, that's where that comes from.
Yeah. And what would you say are some of the biggest accomplishments that you would like to get done with the solo project and Behind the Days?
Oh, yeah, two different accomplishments for sure. With the solo project, like I have a lot of students that I teach every week, and with the solo project, it's honestly more it's for me, but I also want to be able to inspire people to pick up the guitar and play guitar, and I want to be able to inspire people to get better and get them. I want to help people get to the point where they want to be as a player. You know what I mean? So, um, and then yeah, the behind the days. That's it's gonna be more of a melody, vocal driven kind of thing. So that will be like to hopefully get on with some other big bands. You know what I mean? That do the same type of style with us. So yeah, two different accomplishments going on there, and two different ways of approaching each project. But I think at the end of the day, we just want to get them a little bit bigger than what they are now, obviously, and also just help push the city out, the Regina, Saskatchewan, help get the city on the map a little bit more. You know what I mean? I think that's
Mhm.
the biggest accomplishment that we want to pull off is we want to get more recognition to this province and to the city of Regina and all the great musicians that come out of here. You know, so.
Yeah. And as far as like both projects go, how do they kind of differ with in the sense of like writing and recording? Because for your solo project, you're kind of taking the lead on that, whereas behind the days, you're kind of more of a group.
Two very different ways of doing things there. Yeah. So behind the days, let's say if we're all together in a room, someone will play a riff, and then we'll just get started on it like that, and we'll keep continuing there. But with my solo project, I find that if I just really get lost in with myself, with my laptop and my garage band, I can experiment more with keyboards and guitar sounds and whatnot. So yeah, two different very writing processes there. So like I said, the solo project is more of I can escape the world and put my headphones on in a dark space
Mhm.
and just really see what I can pull out of myself. And then behind the days is really with the other groups. They bring in their influences and I bring my influence in, and then that's what we get thrown. It gets thrown into a big pot. We stir it up, and that's where we find we get our best material. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's great. And I find too with the solo project, I think I really enjoy writing that myself because no limits, you know what I mean? No other opinions come in there. I feel like I got a really good sense of melody and how I want to take things. So, or where I want to take things, I should say. So I have no problems with getting stuck or wanting to find maybe a better idea because I'm just so confident in what I can come up with and where I hear the song going, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So really two different projects. And even with Behind the Days too, though, that we've had songs we've worked on where it was just missing one little bit. So what I'll do is I'll fire it up in my program here and I'll write another part for it and then boom, there it is. That's the part of the song that was missing. So yeah, it's really different.
Yeah. And you are like a fantastic guitar player. Like
Thank you.
I
Thank
I think if I saw probably you play live, you'd probably be one of my favorite musicians to probably see live. I've seen videos.
you. Oh,
You're
thank you.
great. So like
Thank
how
you.
did you get into playing guitar and kind of at what age?
Oh yeah, I think I had the most amazing upbringing ever. So my father, he's a musician around the city, and I grew up watching him playing cover bands, original bands, and he also taught guitar his whole, or excuse me, my whole life while I was growing up. So right from the age of one, two, three, four. I was being raised by my father, who was like I said, full-time musician. Like there was no side gigs on the side of having to work this job. It's been full-on music. So really came from my father, and he purchased my first guitar for me when I was 7, and I didn't take it seriously until I was 12. So that's how I really got started. But I really, there's that downtime between the 7 and 12 where I wasn't playing guitar, but I was listening to great music the whole time. So when I did pick up the guitar, I knew how I wanted to sound on the guitar and I knew where I wanted to take things. My
Yeah.
ear was being trained the whole entire time as I was listening to that period of music there between 7 and 12. So yeah, mostly my dad and just introducing me to all these great artists, all these great bands. And my dad is my biggest hero in my life and my biggest influence. So yeah.
Hmm. And who else would you say, like besides your dad, is like a big influence? And like, who are some of your favorite bands?
Well, yeah, I think it goes like this. It goes my dad, and then it goes Neil Sean from Journey, and then Joe Satriani down here. So yeah, my like I said, my dad is my biggest influence, but Journey and Neil Sean by all means are my number one band of all time. And the reason being is because I find with that their music, the Journey catalog, it's really diverse. When I learned all their music growing up, um, all those techniques and all those songs, they're really different from one of each other, like from each other. So whenever I had to start playing a little bit more of like Metallica or heavier stuff, I was already really good at all the down picking or all that type of stuff right there. So yeah, I really love the route I took with music, with staying with more of the melodic rock side of things. And I think I can't really say anyone else really influenced me. It's been this Journey project and Neil Sean the whole time. So yeah.
Mhm. And what would you say are some of your favorite, like top favorite albums to listen to?
Top favorite albums. Okay, I got you. I got probably any Journey album is good, but back in about 2017, 18, I got into Panic at the Disco. And the reason why I really got into Panic at the Disco is because I felt like I was searching for a modern artist that uh, was newer, but also sounded like some of the older bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I never had that relationship with a good modern artist. So yeah, any one of those Panic at the Disco albums, any Journey album, any probably Joe Satriani album too. I love to death. So, and you know what? Honestly, my music taste has expanded far beyond than what I ever thought it would be, and I think that's from becoming a teacher and realizing that I have to be able to play any type of style and enjoy any type of genre. Because if a student comes in and says, "Hey, can you teach me this?" I can't just be like, "No." You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I really make sure I can put my heart into anything. So but yeah, any Journey or Joe Satriani or Panic at the Disco album, those would have to be my top favorite albums, and musical inspirations too.
Hmm. And like you mentioned, you do some teaching. How do you find that? Do you really like it? Do you find some aspects of it hard when teaching, say, a new student that comes in?
Yeah, no, for sure. I love teaching so much. I feel very lucky because I teach over 50 students a week, and I really love working one on one with each student, and they differ so much from each other. I started teaching at the age of 17, so I was pretty lucky coming out of high school. I had a full-time gig doing music. But that's not to say that it was handed to me. I really had to work to get to a point where I was good at talking with people, good at teaching guitar, right? It's one thing to be able to
Yeah.
play guitar, but to be able to teach it, that's
A
another.
hundred percent. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was and there's even times in high school where I would say screw it to going out to parties or whatever because I wanted to stay home and play guitar. So I really did have to work to get myself to that point, but yeah, teaching is amazing. All my students are they're hard workers, and it's really nice knowing that I'm in control of some of these future musicians' destiny almost, you know what I mean, and how they
Hmm.
do things. So it's really nice to have that pressure on me almost to be able to expand the next generation of musicians, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I love working with them, and I'm a really outgoing person, so any new student that comes in, they're getting the full deal, and I think with my guitar teaching though is like you come with me for guitar lessons, but we can also talk about life and other things too, and on how a person's day is going and whatnot. So it's I really try to make sure I connect with each and every one of my students. You know what I mean? On a higher ground than just giving them a guitar lesson. So
Hmm.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And what would you say is your favorite part about teaching guitar?
My favorite part about teaching guitar, honestly, is watching like a 7 or an 8-year-old play something, and they'll do it in a certain way that I never thought of, and so it's
Hmm.
almost like they're teaching me something. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
that makes sense. So, you can learn from any guitar player from any age or anything. You know what I mean? So I would have to say that's my favorite part, and also going back to just really helping people achieve where they want to get to as a guitar player and as a musician too. I like to think of nowadays I want to be teaching to become a better overall musician, become a better overall performer, become a better overall guitar player, all of it, you know what I mean? So it's not just limited to guitar when you're coming for lessons, it's musicianship in general, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And how like rewarding is it for you to be able to like teach someone something that they really want to learn?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. You see their eyes light up when you first put the song on, and then I sit there and I'll figure it out, right? And you can just see them going, oh, that's how it's done. So I love it. I love, yeah, it is rewarding. And it's rewarding too when you teach someone something and they take it home and they work on it and you can see that improvements. You're like, yeah, good job. I'll give them the fist bumps all the time. Like, you know what I mean? It's so good. So I really try to make sure that my student feels like they've accomplished something once they go home and work on their project and bring it back the week after. So I also have some students too that come and see me more than 3 times a week. You know, they love coming to hang out and play guitar and jamming out. So they tell me I'm their favorite guitar player and I influence them the most. So it's super sweet. So all my students are just amazing kids and amazing people and amazing adults too.
And I think that's really important that you also like let them just talk about you or like talk to you about everything else, not just guitar,
Yes, definitely.
like 100%.
Yeah. You're gonna be sitting in a room with someone, you're gonna end up talking about more than just music, you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I just want to go into your writing and recording process. When you're starting a song, where do you start? Do you kind of start with a melody, a riff, kind of where?
Yeah, I was before we hopped on here, I was actually just playing something like a so right there, there's a little bit of a melody, and I can hum that in my head, and I think that's how my process starts, finding that key hook or key melody and building from there, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So, um, and another thing too is I don't like making guitar really complicated or hard or anything like that. You know what I mean? I try to really keep open-minded about everything and also just uh try to think less about things, you know? I don't want to sit there and think, okay, well, this C note is going to work together with this E note and it's going to sound just fantastic. Like I don't think like that. I try to just play and let my ear take it where I think it sounds good, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that can also have its disadvantages too. You can find yourself playing the same crap over and over sometimes, right? So that's where I love expanding as a player. If I do feel myself going to one of those same areas or techniques that I was soloing in, I'll try to instantly go somewhere else, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, the writing process, it's all the songs I've written, it's never been like sat down and worked on for months upon months. It's like a riff that I've just started playing and someone else is like, that sounds great, let's work on it. And then we try to finish it up like within the next day or so, you know what I mean? So yeah, and then having other people's opinions too are just great with the music, because sometimes you'll write a song and you're like, oh, this isn't really going anywhere, but then someone else will bring in one idea or one little melody piece and it just takes it to the next level. So it's really being able to trust your process too, if something doesn't sound good, just trust it, just keep going with it no matter what, you'll eventually get it to where it's meant to be or where it's not meant to be kind of thing. So yeah, I go off this old blues saying, if you're thinking, you're stinking. You know what I mean? So you just want to be able to play without
Yeah.
thinking kind of thing. That's
And
where
do
that
you,
process comes
yeah.
from.
And do you ever have like a go-to like chord progression that you just kind of will sit down and start playing and then maybe write stuff over top of it?
Sometimes yes, but I could also say it's more of like I'll go for more of an emotional connection with those chords. So let's say if it's a cloudy day out, I'm going to be playing cloudy chords, but if it's sunny and beautiful out, I'm going to be playing those sunny, beautiful, happy sounding chords, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. So yeah, you can either go to a chord progression that's been used and see what you can do with it and how you could change it up, or you can just go straight for what you can find within yourself and your emotions and all that.
Hmm. And like you mentioned before, with kind of your solo project, you've just been using like GarageBand, which is 100% like fine. I use
Yeah.
GarageBand, great.
Yeah.
Um, do you find it hard to kind of mix your own songs on there, or have you kind of grown to be able to make it sound decent?
Well, yeah, no, that's a great question. I wouldn't say that I've really tried to mix my songs to the point where I want to release them.
Yeah.
So I've never dived into that completely, but I get them to a point where I'm like, okay, I can hear these drums pounding great. I can hear this bass pounding great. I can hear this guitar pounding great. You know what I mean? So I really try to make sure it's all evened out so that each melody is sticking out. So yeah, I never tried to mix a song completely to release it, but demoing wise, I feel like my ear really helps me to tell if the song is worthy enough to even attempt to listen to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And as far as kind of this year goes, where are you kind of hoping to go play shows at?
It's hard because we got the pandemic and all that, but I think we want to get around in the city here lots, but try to expand ourselves a bit. So I'm involved with some guys at SAS Music, and yeah, we're gonna try to branch out outside of Saskatchewan a bit and get around to the country. But I do also have some contacts down in LA that I'm hoping down maybe sometime down the road I can maybe get a gig with out there too. So yeah, definitely want the local scene to thrive, but also we do have plans to take it outside of Saskatchewan and honestly the whole world. We've our last show at Coors Event Center there, we were compared to like some type of European band. So maybe one day we go out there and try to hit a festival. So
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool.
that would be
Definitely.
amazing. Yeah.
And where would a dream venue be for you to play at?
I think right now it's honestly the Whiskey Go. I believe that's what it's
Hmm.
called in LA.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see so many great bands have rolled through there, so it's been amazing. I feel like that's where I want to end up one day. Just go out there, and I feel like the musical scene out there is really unique and really cool. So I do want to go check it out there. But yeah, somewhere in that area. I think it's tough because I think you want to play at venues where all these other crazy musicians have played, but it's pretty cool that the Exchange in Regina has held some really good musicians there, excuse me. So to be able to play there at the Exchange, it feels like, you're playing at a venue that's been conquered by these amazing musicians. So yeah, somewhere down where there's a lot of interest in the type of sound we're going for.
Hmm. And who would you love to play a show with out of
Holy smokes.
anybody?
Yeah, who would I love to play a show with? Oh
Or
man.
okay, let's do this. Let's do a lineup of three other musicians.
Three other musicians. So I'll be on guitar and then everyone else is
Or
singing? Like,
like your band and then like three other people.
okay, okay, yeah. Okay. Well, I would probably, so you know what, we'll go category here. For singer, I would have to steal either Steve Perry from Journey or Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco.
Hmm.
Bass player, I would probably go with Flea, honestly, because I really like his style, and I think I have a bass player I play with, and his style and Flea's style really are great. So I feel like that would really be good for me to play with. So yeah, singer, bass player, and then maybe keyboard player. I would honestly go with Jonathan Cain from Journey as well too, just because they're so melody driven. So yeah, it would probably be with my heroes. And there's actually a lot of other bands I listen to from Europe that there's some great musicians. I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but some of those bands from Europe and Italy too. There's a lot of musicians I would die to play with over there. So I find myself whenever I play with a musician though, I find myself just wanting to be quiet and just learn from them. You know what I mean? So I learned from an early age that if you kind of just sit there and learn to keep the yap shut and not talk too much, you can learn lots. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does your overview for the rest of this year kind of look like?
Well, I think we're going to hopefully get in the studio here soon and record these tracks. We've had them demoed for so long and we've showed a lot of people and they're like, wow, this is some good stuff. So we want to get into the studio and get some music out there. It's really hard with a lot of us are all on different schedules and of course, we got other things going on in life, but I never want to rush anything, you know what I mean? I want it to be something where I'm going to be really satisfied with if I'm putting my heart into it. So yeah, definitely we want to have some music out this year. And I think our live show is where it's at though. We really want to make sure we're bringing it live. And I think we do bring it live, but we're gonna really like we're already working on some things here to pump up our live show. So yeah, we just want to get some music out and we want to show people that we can really bring it live. So and hopefully we can inspire other people too, That's what my goal is at the end of the day though, just to really inspire these other guitar players in the world to really want to help them out and any musician in that case. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's great. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it out to a show at some
Yeah,
point.
that'd be great,
Hopefully.
Victoria. That'd be awesome.
But thanks for coming on the show today, Josh. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Victoria. Thank you so much for having me. It was great. Maybe I'll do a little blues outro for us for here.
100%.
Yeah. Thank you, Victoria.